You guys asked for it, so in this video, I am going to break down what a goal actually is and how to achieve it using brain science. We're going to talk about the 4 pillars that make up a goal. We are going to talk about how to set goals in a way that actually means something to your brain so that you don't just rely on external motivation and discipline, which never fucking works long term. And we're going to talk about how to apply this to every goal you have in your life. And of course, we're also going to break down habits because habits are a crucial component in crushing all those goals. So let's get started. What is a goal? Put simply, a goal is something you want to achieve. It's basically like a dream with a deadline. Whether it's you personally or a group of people, it's something that you are working towards. However, a goal is not just a destination. It's not just like the light at the end of the tunnel. You're not just like crossing the bridge. Okay, here we are. We reached the goal. A goal requires an entire internal shift. So there are 4 pillars that make up a goal: outcome, decisions, identity, and belief. We're going to break each of these down. Let's start with outcome. Outcome is not just like, I want to make $5,000 a month with my online business, or I want to do 5,000 steps every single day. The outcome has to be deeper than that. If you can't feel it, you can't achieve it. You have to very much visualize what the achievement of that goal is going to do for you. How is it going to impact your life? How is it going to change your day to day? What does it look like? What does it feel like? How does it impact the people around you? You have to get deep with this. Move beyond the vision board that sits in your kitchen and you just dream about, oh, that looks like a nice life, like it's a fucking movie external to you, and actually get real about how this feels. Let's break this down in a real context. Let's say your goal is you want to clean the room. Okay, you have a really messy room and your goal is, I want to clean this room. I want to keep this room clean. That's my goal for 2026. Your brain looks at the room and it looks at the mess and it's like, this sucks. Frankly, this is uncomfortable. There's clothes all over the floor. There's a weird smell coming from the closet. I don't want to do this. Let's go sit on the couch instead. Okay? Now, how can we use outcome to get ourselves motivated to reach our goal? Because we can't rely on discipline and external motivation. It never fucking works. So what you do with this goal of cleaning your room is you visualize the outcome. You actually picture yourself standing there in the room. What would it look like if everything was put away in its place? What would it feel like to have no dust as the sun is shining through and you're like, oh my God, I don't see a bunch of hair and disgusting dust everywhere? How does that actually make you feel? Get yourself in that state. Because the truth is, if your goal is to clean your room and keep it clean, you are the fucking hot mess express that got yourself in that situation in the first place. And your brain knows that. Your brain knows this is pointless. This is a waste of our energy because we're just going to mess it up again. So you actually physically change your state before going for the goal. You visualize the outcome. You embody the outcome of the goal. Oh, it smells so good. It feels so good to be in this clean room. And once you are in that state, your brain is actually feeling a reward. You're actually activating a different part of your brain, the limbic system. It's a pretty big part of your brain. And then that's where that internal motivation is going to come in. You're going to be like, you know what? I'm going to go clean my room because how good is it going to feel? I can already feel how good it is. How much easier is it going to be to go and actually pick up the first article of clothing? Now, here's a trick. You do one thing at a time and you celebrate it. That is how you actually get your brain to keep wanting to do more. Instead of looking at the whole room and being like, oh my God, I have 100 articles of clothing, you just focus on one. The outcome of, it's going to feel so good to have these clothes put away. You pick up one clothing and you celebrate. Then you're activating the reward center of your brain, aka dopamine, which your brain fucking loves. And that's going to make you want to pick up another piece and another piece and another piece. And before you know it, you're just cleaning your room. Another recommendation when you're trying to visualize this outcome and feel it, how good it feels, is changing your state. Put on some good music. Have your favorite drink there. Maybe you got some snacks you really like. Now down on some cookies, whatever it takes to get yourself the feeling of what it's going to be like when your room is clean. Not only is it going to help you actually accomplish that goal, but it's actually going to prevent you from fucking up the room again in the first place, okay? Now let's move on to pillar 2. This is maybe one of the biggest pillars in all of this because you decide in the first place to set this goal, right? Why? Why is this important to you? And the key with decisions is to make them fast because there is no right or wrong decision that you can make. In life, most of your decisions, you can come back from them. If you get a job and it's the wrong job, well, you can find a different job, right? It's not a life or death decision. Most people sit and they wait to feel ready. And so they don't actually make decisions. They avoid making decisions. And that becomes a part of who they are, which we're going to talk about more in the next pillar. Everything in life revolves around decisions. This workshop, when I host this workshop live in community, it's called Fuck It, Decide, and Achieve. Basically, what that means is like, we don't need to fucking know the how. What we need to do is decide this is what we want. We are worthy of having this. This is what we want. That this is who we're going to be and that this is what we will have. We need to make that decision, and that is how you achieve it. I'm not wearing my sweater right now, but when I'm doing my live show, I'm usually wearing my no permission needed. I've already decided, okay? Because this is what deciding looks like. Your life is a direct result of all of the decisions or indecisions you have made, okay? And I know that might sting to hear a little bit, but look at your life like a mirror. It reflects back the decisions you've made and the actions you take towards those decisions. So make sure that you are clear on every little decision you make. And here's where it gets a little sticky. When we start talking about habits, is you don't actually fully understand the goal. That's why it's good to break goals down into all the little mini decisions you need to make to go towards the goal. Let's say your goal is I want to go to the gym 3 days a week. There's a lot of decisions that need to be made in between of just, I want to go to the gym 3 days a week. Okay, am I going to eat before or after I go to the gym? What am I going to wear to the gym? Am I going to drink out of the water fountain, or am I going to remember to bring a water bottle? Am I going to pack my bag the morning of the gym or the night before? Am I going to drive my car to the gym, or am I going to walk? What time of day am I going to go to the gym? How long am I going to work out at the gym? There are so many decisions that actually make up the goal. It's not just, I've decided I want to go to the gym 3 days a week. So breaking it down and understanding and preparing for each one of those decisions is going to move you closer to that goal. You don't get the life you want and then make the decisions. You make the decisions and then you get the life that you want. That brings us to identity, a crucial pillar and basically the foundation of all of the work that I do with my clients and customers. You do not get what you want in life, you get who you are. So instead of thinking of your goal is like, what do I need to do to achieve this? You need to think of it as, who do I need to be to hold this, to accomplish it and actually maintain it? Because I've seen a lot of women, they hit their $10,000 cash month in their business, then they go to 15, 20, and then they pull back because they don't have that identity, that foundation that they need. When you're going for goals, especially big delusional goals, like the women and men in my world are going for, you need to be the person that goes for those. That means letting go of the people-pleasing identity, letting go of the self-sacrificing identity, letting go of this like good girl, good boy identity of like making other people feel more uncomfortable. It is not anybody's responsibility to understand your goal, and it is certainly not your responsibility for you to explain to them so that they can understand it. You need to go big, you need to be bold, and that requires holding an identity that allows you to take up space, to be confident, to be fully authentically you, rooted in all your truth, your purpose, your mission. What does this look like for you? What does this goal do? Who are you? How do you spend your days? What kind of habits does that look like? All of these answers are going to give you basically break between that big gap of where you are now and who you want to be. Because when you understand the identity of the person where you want to be, you start showing up as them today, and look, you're literally shortening the gap. You're literally collapsing time to reach that goal. Part of this can be broken down into just your day-to-day. You're not going to have a thriving, passionate, like connection-filled marriage when you're showing up with an identity of like, oh, I'm resentful because, he didn't say good morning, or I'm resentful because he left his coffee cup. Who do you need to be to have the goal that you want? The fourth pillar, which actually makes up these other pillars, it's basically like the tree roots underneath the tree of these pillars, pulling it down in different directions, and that is your belief. Your beliefs will hold you back. You need to delete the I'm not a morning person. Well, I'm not very good at tech. I suck at sales scripts. These are wired into you based on experiences you had in your past. But like we just talked about, who you want to be versus where you are right now, you need to show up as this person, which requires you to let go of these beliefs that tell you that you're not good enough, that tell you you don't know enough, that tell you you're not ready. Your reality, your current reality mirrors those deepest beliefs. And a lot of people, when they jump into this space, the world where I help people step into their purpose and build this limitless life, it requires you to believe a different reality. It requires you to believe in something you can't yet see. This is crucial. So when you have the goals that are coming up, writing down those limiting beliefs that you have towards them is going to be really helpful in bringing awareness to, like, what do I think about this goal? Because if there's a part of you that thinks it's not possible, then you're going to pull yourself back. We're going to dive a little bit deeper into that. The next thing I want to talk about is the 3 rules I follow when I set a goal. Okay, these are just my personal rules that I follow. Rule number 1 is I set big fucking goals. I'm talking delusional goals. I was just looking for my phone, but I'm recording on my phone right now. But my screensaver on my phone is like, I make $555,000 every single month, and it's the easiest fucking thing I've ever done. And then it's got all these pictures of all of these goals I want. But those goals are rooted in the 4 pillars that we talked about. Like, one of them is like this private plane. And for me, it's really important because I live in this mountain region, and there's so many community members in this area that struggle with like cancer and like really severe medical diagnoses. And then they have to drive over these mountain passes all the time to get medical care. And then their family can't be there with them. And like, one of my goals in life as part of my business, the impact I'm going to make, is to actually have my own private plane with a private pilot that can help these people get their medical treatments, and then their families can go with them. And then my own family, who lives so far away, they can come visit me on the plane all the time. And of course, yes, I will think of the environment, and I will plant 1,000 trees every time we take that plane anywhere. But still, get fucking delusional. The bigger you set your goal, the bigger you force yourself to expand. This forces growth. I can guarantee you, you're not going to achieve your goals unless you're growing, and growth is uncomfortable. The number 2 is the hunger behind the goal, which I basically just talked about. You know, like when I look at my little phone screensaver, it's basically like a little vision board. I look at the hunger behind those goals. You know, the goal for my business of making $20,000 cash every single month is so I can retire my husband, and I picture him fishing on the river every single day with our kids and taking them on these adventures and never having to go clock into his job again. I picture like giving back to him for everything he's done for our family, like really understanding the hunger. I know a lot of goals for people is to like make more money. But like, why? What is that going to do for your life? How is it going to empower you to help others? How is it going to empower you to give back to the community, to your family, for generations to come? What kind of life is it going to like actually give you? Feel it. Root that hunger, like the outcome pillar we talked about before. Really, really feel what that is like for you. And it will help you not only visualize that goal, but it will help your brain want to move towards it, because your brain is a meaning-making machine. So it's like, ooh, this is important to us. Let's keep this at the forefront, and let's move it up to the prefrontal cortex and like process this cognitively so that we take action towards it. And then the third is create a timeline that requires immediate action with no expectations of results. Great example of this recently, when I hosted this workshop live, is we set goals together in the workshop. And my goal was like, I really want to reach out more locally. I want to do more of this goal setting live. I want to do my limitless identity live. And so that was the goal that I had. And I took immediate action. As soon as I got home that night, I emailed 3 people, and there was no expectation of when they were going to get back. No expectation of like when this was going to come to fruition, when I was going to like book my next speaking gig. Guess what? Somebody responded literally the next morning, like 8 hours later. They were traveling, and they responded at 7 o'clock in the morning, and they were like, oh, I am so excited that this email came to me. I cannot wait to host you. Let's set up a call this week. Like, can't wait. When you take immediate action, you are literally putting it out there that you already have it. You are already becoming the person who does this. The women in my community that are successful with their businesses versus the women in my community that are not successful with their businesses, this is what they do. They pay attention to these 4 pillars, and they make sure that they're taking action that's aligned with who they are as the business. The business is a part of you. It's not something that you do. The identity, the decisions, the outcome, the beliefs, it's all part of what your goal is. So when you take that action, again, shrinks that fucking timeline, you guys. Now, there is a neurological system at play here, which does act as a huge barrier to prevent you from reaching your goals. These have been called associations, subconscious links. I call them neuro-response loops. This is the subconscious feeling or emotion that your brain attaches to a goal. So your brain has one job. It's to keep you alive with as minimal effort as possible. Like, it is literally wired for survival, okay? So your brain either moves towards pleasure or it moves away from pain. But it moves away from pain a lot faster. Think of like touching the hot stove. You pull your hand away fast, right? Like, it's a lot quicker of a response. So if you have any pain associated with your goal, even if the pleasure side, the list of the pleasure is like way longer, your brain will pull you back every single fucking time. You could have like the visualization, you do the outcome, you're like, I'm going to retire this person, I'm going to do this, I'm going to be the healthiest, I'm going to have this relationship, I'm going to be, running my marathon, I'm going to be writing my book, whatever that is going to feel like for you. That could be so good. But if there is pain associated with it, your brain's going to ignore all that shit and it's going to pull you back. So the first step to rewiring these neuro-response loops is obviously awareness. So what I'd like you to do right now is pause this video, write down your goal at the top of a piece of paper. And without overthinking this, I want you to write down all of the pain that you associate with that goal. Fear of failure, fear of being judged, fear it's not going to work, fear of disappointing people, fear that it's going to hurt, that it's going to be painful, like physically painful, it's going to cost you too much. You might go into debt. People might look at you differently. What will your family think? You're betraying your values, your systems, whatever that is. Get deep with this, because I guarantee you there's pain attached to all of your goals. I've never set a goal where it was like, oh yeah, this will be so easy. It's all pleasure. No, there's always pain attached to it. Once you identify what that pain is, just name it. Just say what it is. I'm really scared to run this marathon because I don't think I'm going to be able to finish the race. Say it out loud. Just be honest with yourself. Okay, then your brain is like, oh, let's put this into the prefrontal cortex a little bit, move it a little bit out of our emotional brain, bring some awareness to it so we can process it and let it go. The third step to this is changing your state, like physically changing your state, and then taking action towards that goal, because you can't take action towards the goal when you're still in the pain loop. So whatever it takes to get yourself hyped up, running, squats, jumping up and down, like seriously, change your state, like all the time. Deep breaths. You could do some yoga, like in and out. You could do nidra breathing, like all sorts of different things. Whatever you can do to change your state. Then you take tiny action towards the goal. So sending the email, signing up for the marathon, putting on your running shoes, going for a run, whatever that is. And then the fifth step is celebration. If all you do is run like 2 kilometers around the block, celebrate it like you ran the marathon. Your brain doesn't know the difference between finding $1 on the street or winning $1 million. Your brain literally only knows what your body tells it. So what's happening with this is you're literally rewiring the neural response loop in real time. You're showing your brain, I'm not fearful of not being able to finish this marathon because look I just did it. I just ran 2 kilometers around the block, and you celebrate it like you just finished the marathon. This is how you rewire those loops so that they don't keep dragging you back subconsciously. We touched briefly on identity, and now I want to actually break down what identity is. Identity is the beliefs you repeat, the decisions you either make or avoid making, and the evidence that your brain collects to support the decisions and the beliefs. Now, here's the thing. Your actions will always line up with who your brain believes that you are. So it is very important that your brain believes that you are a person that accomplishes this goal. So as we move into discussion on habits, I really want you to keep an understanding of identity at the forefront of this. Okay, we're going to break down what a habit is, and then I'm going to show you how we root our habits in identity. So a habit has 3 parts. There's a trigger, a behavior, and a reward. That's it. The trigger is you had a long day at work. The behavior is you drink a glass, maybe a bottle of red wine. The reward is, you're feeling pretty relaxed. You're a little bit fucking wasted. You're feeling good. The trigger is you're bored, standing in line at the grocery store. Behavior, you whip out your phone, start scrolling. Reward, you get a hit of dopamine. When you understand that, you can start to look at those bad habits that actually prevent you from working towards your goals. And what you're going to do is you're going to replace the behavior and you're going to make the reward. Okay, so you get home from work, you've had a really long day. Trigger stays the same. The behavior is you go for a quick run around the block. The reward is Oh my God, I feel so relaxed. Like, good. You just fucking fake it till you make it, guys. Seriously. Your brain believes what your body tells it. When you understand these three parts, the trigger, what the behavior is, and what the reward is, you can manipulate what's happening. If you know that you need to start working on that book that you want to write, and the TV, the couch is looking real good over there, then you need to go over, write one sentence, and reward yourself like you just finished a chapter. Guess what? Once you start doing that, you're like, oh, okay, let's keep going. We're going to take this one step further because there is one more thing that we can do to actually help us switch out that behavior. And it falls under James Clear. He's the author of Atomic Habits. It falls under his 4 laws of behavior change. The 4 laws of behavior change are make it obvious, make it attractive, make it easy, and satisfying. Okay, so let's take your cell phone, for example. Make it obvious. Well, it's pretty obvious. It's literally always on your person, right? It's there. We look at it every 3 minutes, not because we want to, but because it's just there. It's attractive. Whip out your phone. Like literally, there's so many things. There's so many buttons you can touch. There's got sounds, notifications, lights. Like it's pretty fun. It's easy. My friggin' 3-year-old, when he picks up a phone, can now unlock it and knows how to use it. My 1-year-old also walks around the house pretending to record videos like I do for Instagram, right? It's not very hard to use. It's satisfying. Even when you're deep diving into the bad news, it sucks you into this community, this connection, this feeling of like belonging through your screen. It's wild how addictive our phones are. So take those 4 laws of behavior and apply it to your goal. Let's say your goal is I want to start a successful online business. I want to make $10,000 a month. Okay, let's make something a little bit realistic for your brain here. So the first thing you can do is make it obvious, right? You can have your vision board that has very clearly like all of the pillars of the goal, the outcome, the decisions, the identity, the beliefs on that vision board. They represent it. You can do some visualization practices, but let's make it really obvious for you of like, you get home from work, the trigger is you get home from work, you have dinner, and then maybe there's an alarm that goes off in your house that reminds you it's time to work on your business. And when you go over to your desk, it's set up super nice. It's obvious. It's right there. You know it's time to work on your business. And you're also make it attractive by like, maybe you have like a nice little cup there. You've got your favorite plant. You've got good lighting. You've got some music that comes on automatically. Like there's so many things we can do automatically to change our environment to actually create these habits, right? Make it easy. Have some supports. Have a framework. Have a notebook. Have the education for actually accomplishing that business. Get a coach. Get a mentor. And make it satisfying. Reward yourself. When I'm deeply ingrained in my work, when I'm like building out courses or I'm building out modules or I'm doing like boring tech stuff that my brain just does not like doing, I literally have a little box of chocolate next to me and I reward myself every 30 minutes that I sit there. And I'm like, okay, little piece of candy. And it is so freaking good. You are in control of this. Now, I know we covered a lot, so I'm going to kind of just do a little bit of a recap. A goal is not a destination. A goal is a requirement for an entire eternal shift, okay? It is a requirement for you to understand the outcome, the decisions, the identity, the beliefs of the goal. You got to pay attention to those neuro-response loops, the pain and pleasure systems that are pulling you either towards your goal or away from your goal. And you have to know who you need to be to accomplish that goal. What does that person do? How do they spend their days? What does their mornings look like? How do they celebrate? How do they spend time with their families? Like what actually does your life look like as if you've already accomplished that goal? That's going to help you get clear on the habits you actually need to succeed towards the goal. If your goal is the marathon, you know that their habits are probably not eating McDonald's for breakfast, lunch, and dinner and sitting on the couch watching Netflix, right? So really get clear on that identity, what kind of person actually accomplishes that goal. Don't forget the 4 laws of behavior and help yourself achieve this goal. And if I could just leave you with one thing, if you ignored everything else in this video, and this is the only piece that you take with you, then I would be very happy and I would feel like I have done my job in helping you achieve your goals. I use this every single day on myself in every area of my life, not only to hold myself accountable, but to make sure I'm moving towards the life that I desire. I ask myself this question in every context. What would I decide right now? What would I do if I trusted that everything was going to work out? I use this with my relationship. Like the morning before my workshop, I felt bad. The kids were being feral. My husband was a little bit grumpy and I was like, oh dear. And I felt like kind of being like, oh, figure it out, man. Good luck. This is what my weeks look like. And I was like picturing my relationship with him. How do I want my relationship with my husband to look in 20 years? What would I do if I believed that that's what our relationship could look like in 20 years? And I went over to him and I was like, I've got 10 minutes. Is there anything you need from me right now to make your life easier today? So freaking simple, life changing in every single way. In my business, when I'm scared to make a decision, when I'm scared to make an investment, there's so many decisions I make in my business that make no logical sense. I ask myself, what would I do if I trusted I was going to hit my 20K cash goal? What would I do if I trusted I was going to have 100 clients in the room? How would I be showing up? This question will literally change the trajectory of your entire life. I want you to remember something very important. Everything you need to accomplish your goal is already inside of you. It's already there. You are enough as you are. You are this beautiful, unique human being with your own knowledge, your own experiences, your own passions. You are everything. You have so much value. You have so much worth. It is just buried under layers of social conditioning and these beliefs and these decisions that we've made in the past and this evidence of things not working out. We need to remove the layers. Think of yourself as that little middle piece of an onion. Get rid of the layers of the onion and you will see that everything you need inside of you is already there. You have a limitless identity, which can create a limitless life. And you don't need permission. You don't need a certificate from somebody to tell you that you can do it. You don't need a gold star saying, yes, now you are ready to accomplish that goal. No permission needed. You need to decide. And your life, that outcome, everything you fucking want on the other side of that, all of these habits, everything we've talked about in this, the pillars to the goal, the decisions, the uncomfortableness, the change, the growth, everything that is required of you, that is who you are. And this, my friends, this is what deciding looks like. Living that life, and it is fully within your grasp. Just remember, what would I do right now if I trusted it would all work out? And trust me, it will. If this landed for you today, I would love for you to share it with a friend. Make sure you subscribe. Apparently, that's the only way these videos are going to get pushed out to anybody. Not my rules, guys, but it would really help me a lot. Comment below, what was the biggest takeaway that you had from this video where you were like, wow, I never really looked at goals like that before. I would love to know so I can deep dive into that and help you grow and expand into this beautiful, crazy, delusional life. Whatever you want can come true. As always, I have an unwavering belief in your potential, and I wish you nothing but success.